Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Well, hello. I wonder who's producing this show. That would be me. Welcome. Happy holidays. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we're so happy to have you with us today for our show, Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic AMINAH. This is our last episode of 2023. It's been a great ride, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. Let's welcome the star of our show as we discuss today Decoding Canine Communication, a deep dive into dog body language. Welcome, Pet Psychic AMINAH, joining us from California. Hello.
Thank you so much. And I'd love to say it's sunny and wonderful. No, it's cloudy and rainy, and we need it. It's wonderful.
I saw that there's some really bad storms out there on the West Coast.
There is. I mean, we are within, range of the ocean. So you've got a lot of busy stuff going on about there. And I'm always surprised. You'll have to tell me, Florida's a totally different, you're doing marshes and alligators and other things coming around your stuff. We have more of a traditional beachfront, and people build within feet of it because their house actually ends up in the water eventually. But I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people do it with alligators, but I actually love them because I think it's because I've worked around them. I'm very much more comfortable, and fear is one of the biggest troublemakers in our life. And that's for this topic and so many others.
I agree with you. I was checking to see if our friends on Instagram were signed up, and they are. Yay. Welcome. Yay. Our friends from Instagram. Nice to have you with us. So Pet Psychic AMINAH, there are people out there who haven't met you before, and we've discussed this before. You're a pet psychic, and we're on a show about coexistence, but we're talking about dog body language. How does it all come together?
Well, we're all complicated people, animals, people, I don't know, trees, plants. Life can get really, really messy, and we just need to take a deep breath. So I am part of that complications. People say, well, what do you do? Well, I was an athlete for years. I did this, I synchronized swimming, I did this and this, but I've always had animals. I've always had that. I'm very fortunate to have a mother who saw what her 5 children loved, what they were passionate about. I have a sister who's an avid artist, and she's very, very good at it. She doesn't sell it, but she uses it on her family and her house and remodeling. And my mom is an artist, and so is her brother. And they do it professionally. They did it. They both passed, but they both did it professionally and actually made a living. So stick with what you are passionate about and find the way to make it a living. One of my wonderful experiences after I finished, I went back to college, got my animal science degree and trainer and behaviorals. So I wanted to back up what I knew, God-given. What Dr. Jacalyn has alerted to is I have been psychic all my life. I didn't know other people didn't hear what I heard. Because I when I was a kid, I'd say it in first person. Well, didn't you hear the cat just said that and you don't like it? And everybody looked at you like, and how would you know that? Well, didn't you just hear him say that? And after the 5th time, you go, I think I don't want to be that weird child. And so you kind of pull that back. So I went to college, and I did that later after I did marriage and children and that kind of stuff. And my girls got older, and I said, hey, I'm going to go back to school. Animal science was absolutely fabulous. Worked in a wildlife sanctuary where, sadly, it was outside of Los Angeles. Can't kind of have tigers, lions, bears in Los Angeles. They probably have enough of them in the theaters. But what happens to these animals when they are retired? Do you put them down? Do they become meat? It's true. It does happen. And what do they do with old horses? What do they do with old donkeys? They feed them to somebody. And that might sound cruel, but it's not a waste of that carcass or that end of life. And if they had died in the wild, that's exactly what would have happened. They would have become a part of the soil. They would have become part of the ecosystem supporting the next babies of whoever eats that. So I want to put a open window to your mind and say, I have a heart, and yes, I'm an empath. What that means is I feel what others and animals feel. I can see the difference in a twitch of an ear. I can see the difference when the whiskers move. I can watch my cats. I have one cat that has white whiskers, and she's very gray, dark gray. So there's a good contrast. Man, those whiskers get going. You're like, oh, there's a whole entire conversation. So I encourage you, start to pay attention to the details. If you and I were sitting across from each other, like on our dining room table or wherever we were, and we were physically in the same room, and I started to tap my fingers on the table, what would you think I was silently, not so silently giving you the clue of how I felt at that moment?
You feel annoyed, agitated, angry.
Is she going to talk to you anymore? Because you and I are professional speakers. We talk a lot. And sometimes we need to remember to just listen. And that was the trajectory I've been on for the last 10 years. Is just always say, hey, wait a minute. I want to switch tables and listen. Because I've had at least 2 best friends in my life that were really shy. And I love that because they're like little presents. You'll open them because shy people give of themselves a little at a time. People like Dr. Jacalyn and I kind of overwhelm you sometimes and give a lot because we have so much we want to share to make your life better. So what I love is you and I found each other. You found me, technically. And the nice thing is we built that bridge of saying we want to give back. We want to give back to everybody. And that's what the show is about, is helping others in any way I can. First and foremost, my goal is for you to understand animals in a totally new way that will keep you coexisting and not fighting over the same resources, because we will. We don't have all of them. But if we keep killing each other, animals keep killing you, people are going to keep killing them. It's just going to be this vicious circle. And this is you and ours give back of saying, let me give you a couple other tips. Spiders are scary. That's okay. I like to hold them, pretty much all of them. And I have been bitten by the snake that held me, that I was holding. So I've had a lot. I've had a horse bite me, dogs bite me, kids. You know, I've had a lot of teeth experience. Would I go back? No, but I've learned a lot. So we're sharing that of how you can maybe coexist with whatever's your challenge. Because you can transfer animal to people, right?
Right, exactly. You put it into a nice present with a bow on it.
Good.
Thank you for that.
Well,
So
the world is a globe, right?
yes, definitely, and we're global.
Exactly.
So we're going to be talking today about a dog's body language, and you were talking about your cat. And so there are some telltale signs that sometimes dog owners miss. You know, I've owned dogs in my life, and I was guilty of this as well. The dog's not listening. I think a great example is, let's say you're out for a walk with the dog, and the dog starts barking at someone else and they won't stop barking. It gets to the point where it's embarrassing at some point, right? So what do? We yell at the dog. First, it's like, quiet, be quiet, shut up. And then we start pulling and
drag off
grabbing.
with the leash.
I mean, and the dog's trying to tell us something. We don't really think about why the dog is barking or what the message is. Is there a message?
Always. Animals speak so loud. If we give them even 30 seconds to stop what we think it is. So I don't know about you. If I start panting, I doubt you'll know what I mean, because I'm not the type of being that pants. And I grew up in the desert. We do get hot, but I never had to go to panting. My tongue and body don't cool that way. If your animal is doing anything with their body, I'm checking in with myself. Anything. Yes, I'm going to stick with anything. If they're moving their ear, 99% of animals, you can see their ears. Not all of them, but a whole lot of them. And if I want to know if somebody's coming to our home, I look at the cat, especially if they're sitting in the living room with me on the couch and the front door is within 10, 20 feet what they can hear. If my cat, any of the cats, I've had lots, I have 3 currently. If any of them twist their ear, they're listening to see where this person's going to go. When we walk with purpose. When we're having a direction, I'm going to go that way, and you walk with direction. If you're lost, you kind of go back and forth. So an animal feels that rhythm in your, not only your heartbeat, if it's really racing and you're very anxious or very excited or whatever, high energy, but your feet have a direct point, because your mind has said, feet, we're going that way. Oh, we're going to go that way. And an animal lives by what they can hear and what they can smell. We haven't got the nose involved because you're outside a building, so that's a little harder. And they're going to hear tap, 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 and they're going to pick up their ears. They're going to look at you, great bond, and saying, hey, no, we're good. I'm going to go see who they are, what they're up to. If you have a dog that growls at everybody, there's a training opportunity right there. You need to find out if the dog is doing it out of fear, which is one of the most dangerous, because there's the same with people. Fear is open. What did they say? Open season on whoever, because they're already anxious about, oh my God, people are this, or dogs are this or this. I had a sister who was bit in the face by a dog when she was little. I was so little, I was only told about it. She was afraid of dogs for a good 25 years. And then I heard later, when she had children and was married and had children, they got a dog, and she worked through that. So we can work through our trauma. But first, you got to acknowledge, I'm afraid of bees, or I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. I really don't like mosquitoes. I'm not afraid of them, but they really leave welts. I seem to be yummy or something. So I prevent that. I wear longer sleeves when I'm in that kind of area. These are the beginning steps of saying, what do you do with an aggressive pet? Is he aggressive? Or is he compensating for an owner who's so scared and timid of everything that dog specifically, cats will do it too, but dogs are pack animals. That's their nature. They're the ones who's going to protect you because they love you, and you're the part of their pack or the leader in the pack. And they're like, ooh, dad, mom, they're afraid. It doesn't matter. They don't need a picture and say, this is the bad guy. This is the bad girl. They don't need that. All they know is, the person I love and I want to care for and I want to make protected is afraid. So I need to bite all the people. You know how many animals are put down a year because they bit somebody and it was our fault? You didn't train them. You didn't protect them. You didn't put them on a leash. I could make 100 things on the list of what you didn't do. And then the animal regulation people came because that person went to the hospital and got stitches. It's usually something catastrophic like that. And that dog gets taken and put down. Or cat.
I love what you just shared there, because it seems that we as pet owners, and again, I don't have dogs at the moment, but we get so emotionally involved in whatever it is that we're not thinking about the actual animal itself and why it's acting the way that it acts. You know, I noticed something when you think about dogs, if it's your dog, it comes running towards you, or a cat. When I step outside, it dawned on me that whether it's iguanas, whether it's roaches, whether it's lizards,
Well, you must have the tree snakes.
birds, all
Yeah.
of it, but they run away.
Yeah. Because
They
you're a carnivore. They know you eat meat. It doesn't matter if you're a vegan. You're a carnivore. You were born in a carnivore suit. And that's what they smell or feel. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah, they go running, and it's all of them at the same time. It's pretty amazing. I just started noticing that. I thought, why are they all running away? I was glad that they're running away, by the way. I don't want to be like, yeah, come on over. So when we think about our pets, we want them to come running toward us. But if we're not sensitive to what it is they need, if we're not really in tune with them,
Yep.
not everyone has the abilities that you have, but we can have some basic abilities of watching, listening, learning.
Exactly. If I lived in, we lived, you know, in lots of places in college, trying to be married and have a degree and everything. So we had this teeny tiny, it might not be bigger than my kitchen. I'm looking at my kitchen going, my kitchen might be bigger. And so we had the studio, terrible rundown thing. Of course, nobody who could afford rent there. The guy wasn't doing reports, but I had rescued a cat by then. And so every single time the cat would pick up a head and somebody walking down the hall and which apartment they would go to, because we had halls with our front doors.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. You're missing it, everybody. If you haven't paid attention, you just look over and go, hey, Mark, Tom, Kitty, Silk, whatever your cat dog's name is, and you go, what's up? If they go to the door, because what the cats will do, they're pretty lazy. A lot of little dogs are too. Our cat would turn her ear to listen better. If they came by or close or were to our door, it would progress. So if they came by, she might sit up. She might get on all fours and stand there and listen, because let's say they're a UPS guy and they're putting a box down, but she didn't know that. I haven't looked out. If I hear a box go down, then I would know. But as the person makes a change in the rhythm of their walk, in their intent on their trajectory, because we walk faster or slower, depending on how close we are to our goal, and the gesture of going up to knock, you're going to either get an aggressive puppy or something which is not safe. We'll talk training another show, as far as aggressive animals have a really tough time living in apartments and coexisting with everybody, because then everybody's scared of them, that they're going to be bitten. A lot of them get put down. That's a whole nother show. So whatever your animal's doing, I would want to stay, like I had just gone back to college and I had my cat and sitting on the couch. That's what we had. And so I'm doing my homework and the cat would look over. So I'd look at her, what's up? And then I'd keep working because she didn't do anything. And if she escalated, if she got down and went to the door, I was like, okay, I probably should put my work aside. It looks like we're going to have somebody knocking on the door for a package or neighbor, or somebody needs soap, whatever it is. But I can see what she's doing. You don't have to be like me and actually be able to hear what she says, but I could see what she's doing. And then as you watch longer, months later, 6 months later, you get all the innuendos of it. Have you ever had anybody blink their, wink, what is it? Wink your eye at somebody? What does that mean? Dr. Jacalyn, what is a winking eye of somebody? If it's a girl to us, we're not going to the boy stuff yet. To the boy stuff is just creepy, and we walk as fast away as possible.
Well,
girls.
I thought they're flirting with us, but I guess that's not the answer.
Well, and in this day and age, it could be a flirt from a girl, but that's not. I haven't found in all the public arenas I've been in, and you also, that I have anybody making a hey, let's go out. Look, the guys do that, but I've had the girls do it only if I know them. Like they're like we're at a lecture. That's the word I'm looking for. And she's sitting in front of me. I had a girlfriend sitting in front of me, and she did this thing so the speaker wouldn't see her too much. And she's like, I was like, well, we all know what that means.
Yes,
And he is so idiotic that we cannot wait to get out here because they don't pay us enough to take this class. Body language is so important in how you are a professional, how you are as a person, and how you show love, compassion, and understanding of others. You don't have to like another culture. You don't have to like what they like or eat what they eat or anything like that, but you can doggone well be respectful of them walking by and saying, hey, I hope you have a great day. Have you thought that maybe that's the first and last time they'll hear that day? It's nice sometimes just to be acknowledged that you exist. And we get so busy. And another reason why I love the animal world is because they never let a moment go by unused, unenjoyed, gonna dig the hole of a lifetime, whatever it is. They're gonna find that one sunflower seed because their sunflowers are finally up and that's their favorite seed. Whatever that is, animals live to the fullest every day. And I think we as people have lost that completely.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you in a big way.
Okay.
I want to just address something that you said earlier, and I know I shared this on another show, but it continues on here in this area. I told you I was sitting in the kitchen and I heard something on the roof, and I looked, and it was this big iguana.
Mhm.
You know, there's different sizes, right?
Yes.
This was like the king, and there was another one that was all green. The other one had like the points and I had to watch them because the one was communicating with the other one. Its thing, whatever that thing is, came out and it started shaking it around. And this is what I interpreted. I was watching. I was like, he's saying, listen, or he or she is saying, this is my area. This is my roof. I don't want you here. If you come here, then you better expect something. And the green one continued to approach. And then the other one's so anyway, my point is, I don't speak iguana, but I could see they were communicating and what ultimately happened. So dogs are doing the exact same thing. And some of what I've taken from what you said is that sometimes they're warning us of something. Or they're protecting us.
Right.
And something that I think is so amazing, and you read it about dogs. I don't know about, I don't think I've heard about a horse. I'm not saying it's not possible, maybe cats, but a dog can be taken from its home or be left at its home and the owners leave, and somehow it finds its way back. And that always amazes me.
Do you want to know how?
Yeah, tell me. By smell.
Their nose. They are, I don't remember the scientific number, but it's a lot. They have canines specifically, but so many. Cats have it also, but you'll see more of the canines with a little bit longer nose. That's not necessary. They're better at it. But if you imagine your nose is like this in your face, you don't breathe very well. That's not natural. That is man-made. Pugs that have the flat nose, they have a great deal of medical issues because it's not supposed to be that way. You can't breathe. I can't breathe if I have a cold,
right?
Or I suffer from allergies. And just a real quick side, and then I'll bring back to this one, is I haven't had allergies in 15 years, maybe longer. Guess how I got rid of my allergies?
Well, I know
I'm around plants all the time.
I know the answer.
You have the answer?
Yeah, I know the answer. It's from local honey.
Yes, because we talked about it like the first year we were working.
Right.
That's great. I'm so glad it has to be raw honey and it has to be local. Has to be raw honey, not spun, not the pollen taken out, all of that you need. And just if it bothers you, just eat a little bit and get up to a teaspoon. But after about a year and it's yummy stuff, you can put it on toast if you want and all that kind of stuff. But what you're having is what the bees are harvesting is the plants that are around you. That's why it's got to be local raw honey. And off on that one, we're talking about, what was it? Where was I taking that comment? Make it up. You said something about, the iguanas on the top, on the roof.
Well, no, I was saying about it. Animals protect us, and then I said dogs especially can find their way back home. You were talking about smell. You said the pugs have medical issues because of their nose.
And that is not something that was God-given. This is breed specific by humans. If you look at lions, tigers, bears, all of these great noses that come on these big animals, they have great capacity to breathe in their surrounding. That's how they survive. The animals that don't survive are the weak, the sick, mothers that have had 900 litters and, her body is pretty much done. That is the circle of life. We live, our bodies go back to soil, because in the wild, you just die on the ground. And all that nourishment that comes from your body, it becomes part of the soil. The plants grow again, the animals eat the plants, and our circle continues. What we're doing as people is we're using too many chemicals, like a million. It's very hard to not go to just a regular grocery store and you turn around and you look at the bottle ingredients and you have the first 3 ingredients is the most prevalent in whatever you're eating. If you didn't know that. The first 3 ingredients are what's the most, and then it goes down the list from there.
Yes.
So like color number red could be like one from the bottom if it's just barely red. But now you know what you're eating. Now you know if it's a protein, if it's a vitamin, or if it's color number 2. If color number something is in the top 5, you're eating a lot of chemicals. It's not good for your body. It's better if we eat as close as 1 ingredient, 2 ingredients, or something we throw together in a pan that becomes other ingredients. Animals are the same. Roundup specifically is a great weed killer, but it's also killing everything else because we're killing the bugs and we're killing lots of things. In Florida, and Dr. Jacalyn, I hope you'll check in and tell me what you are cute and little and little blonde. So I think that's where I was going. That's my excuse. Is the smoking they do there for the mosquito problem, because it's so tropical and you've got so much moisture and bogs, I assume, are still there and all kinds of waterways. But to make the people happy, they're smoking the mosquitoes. And I know they did that in Disney World when I was there. That was really weird because I lived near Disneyland as a kid, and everybody went, "Oh, you go all the time?" No, it took me till I was like 19 to go to Disneyland because it was right there. It's like I can go anytime. But so many people don't like that. They're dealing with mosquitoes, but it disrupts the ecosystem. For some reason, mosquitoes are supposed to be. I have a God question on that list going, excuse me, why?
I do have a question for you. When you were talking about Roundup and other chemicals, I mentioned to you that we actually have Roundup in the garage that I don't know how old it is. Of course, I'd never consider using it. How do we get rid of it?
You need to take it to a toxic waste. So there are recycle centers that also take toxic waste. Paint is the biggest. The last time I looked into this, okay, it wasn't this morning and right before the show because I never know what I'm going to talk about. That's too much research. And just to tell you, I really bounce off a lot of your good energy. You and I have built this just really fabulous rapport of really wanting to share as much with the audience. And so I really honor you. And I don't think I've said that either at all or in a long time, because I really, really appreciate it as we struggled in the beginning and getting your platform and me getting it down and the cameras and all that. it is a joy to see you asking the questions that I know other people are wanting to know, and we can elaborate. So thank you so much for that every Friday. But so there was a question in there.
Yeah, so I asked you about, and thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I feel the same about you. We have a very good rapport. I don't even want to tell you that we're in the process of moving to another platform. I might keep our show here so you don't have to worry.
If it's a digital move, I'm ready to go. Just don't ask me to come to Florida, because those mosquitoes, man, they see me come to Florida and they eat me alive.
No, we were talking about getting rid of toxic chemicals like Roundup and paints, and you said that there are some places that you can actually
There's dump sites. Yeah, talk to your city. Every city, it by now, because this started 15, 20 years ago. 20 was the early part. I'm giving them a lot more credit than you're getting, but maybe the time has gone faster for me than I thought. Paint really started it. We've got all these paint cans. We stack them up in our garage because we're going to have touch-up paint, and that's really good to have. But I don't know about you, after you paint a whole house inside, outside, or whatever, you got like 900 paint cans, little ones, big ones. They feel like they're taking over the whole thing. Well, it's toxic waste. A lot of places cannot take it. And nowadays, luckily, this is no longer new. We have places where we can take motor oil. A lot of people still are changing their motor oil on their own. The mechanics and people who love working on their cars, they can take all that. They also get a hold of your city, where the mayor's office is, go to their website. Every city, as far as I know, she has a website now, and find out where they drop off toxic waste, which is paint, lacquer, motor oil. It just, the list goes on and on and on and on. Things we cannot, please, please, please tell your friends, uncles, brothers, sisters, everybody, do not put paint and or oil rags. And I have a true story to tell you for that one on a woman that did. Don't put them in the trash can. Do not put them in the trash can. Do not put them in the trash can, because what might happen, you got a 50-50 chance, maybe less, that your house burns down. People die. People lose their homes. And I know this for a fact because my mom she was worried about her kids. She put one of the turpentine, I think it was, paints in the trash can in the bottom to cover it up, to take it. I don't think we had a place to take it in those days. I want to say that would have been around the early 1970s when she was doing all that. And this was way before she taught artistic paint. This was house paint and lacquer and things that she had painted our rooms with. And we ended up in our car out on the road in front of our house while the firemen, our neighbor, called the firemen, because my parents, nobody saw that the garage had gone up. And my brother and my sister had their bedroom right above the garage. And I remember sitting out there going, wow, what the heck happened? And the firemen came, brought the jugs and said, do not store these in your garage where the doors kept closed, and you put it in the trash can so the kids couldn't get it, but it combusted and it literally burned our garage to the ground.
Freaking out right now because we have old paint cans in the garage.
I thought you said that, but I couldn't. I thought, oh, let's hope she moved them. Because I know you had done a lot. But garages are for storage. They're a little cement floor. You can put your car in there. But if you ever have put your car in there, I don't know very many cars that are completely drip oil free and never leave a mark. Every time I've seen a car in a garage, there's some kind of telltale that don't come off. There's not enough common in the planet to get that much oil off.
Right.
But what you have to remember is we could drop a receipt out of our purse. We could have a Kleenex in our pocket, falls out, anything like this, anything can be combustible. Anything.
You know what? While you were speaking, I wanted to look look it up, and what I found was that paint is considered hazardous material.
Yes.
Here where I live, you cannot put it out in the trash.
Yep.
And that you can call some of the big retailers, like, not a paid spokesperson, Lowe's, Home Depot,
Right.
those, and see if they'll take them.
Right.
But there are also companies that you can call. I guess they charge, I don't know. You know, the
Yeah.
other thing is, if you think about, you're going to take it to a recycling center that accepts hazardous material, you're going to put it in your car and drive it there? I don't know.
Well, at that point, that's what you have to do. And I would say the floor bed would be more secure than your trunk, unless
Right.
you're going to zip tie it or bungees or something to glue it down. But let me make a recommendation. Put it in some type of zipped closed bag, not a sleeping bag where it'll bleed through the fabric. Get a garbage bag. Get a kitchen garbage bag, but the ones that are extra large. And all I mean by kitchen is that it's smaller. It's for a smaller receptacle, not a giant trash that goes out on the curb for the trash man to take his little thing and because you cannot. I think it's across the U.S. and Dr. Jacalyn, you'll have to chip in if you put your trash out on the street. We do. Actually, today's the trash day, and I always pray, please, the trash man, don't come during the show, because I am within earshots. But you don't want to put turpentine or the rag or the paintbrush or the paint. None of that, I know here in California, it's illegal to put it into a regular dumpster. You have to take it to a chemical recycle center, and we have them. But I live in a huge community of hundreds of people, so you need to look in your own area. And the wonderful thing is, it's a Google search away. It really is. Ask Siri, where do I take this? Because you might take an oil rag one place, and you take the paint another place. It might be the same place. A lot of dumps that take regular trash from homeowners that don't have maybe a center, and they're in a rural community, so they have to bring their trash to a garbage location. A lot of them, give or take the finance and everything, check with them. Some do have paint can recycles. Some cities do it annually. Like, maybe right after spring, everybody's decided to up their game on repainting their homes or whatever. Perfect time, end of summer, let's all recycle those. And the city takes responsibility for that. And that's really, 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 really important, because if we dump, let's say I had a client that said, well, I'll just rinse it out. I'll just pour out and rinse it out before I take it. And I don't know, because where are you rinsing that? You're not going to rinse it down your kitchen sink, right? So you're going to put it down the drain, the one that's outside your gutter where your sprinklers might run or the rain runs. So now you've put it into the sewer system, and they don't know that, but it happens all the time. So the water's actually not potable. It's really, really dangerous. You don't want to dump your rinsed paint cans in a public place, ever. So talk to your cities. So many government entities are now on the bandwagon of, wait a minute, we're spending thousands of dollars to fix the pipes that rot or get here or get damaged because people are putting the wrong things not only down their kitchen sink, and that usually has a garbage disposal, but down the toilets and into the public pipes of water. All of this is a circle. If we kill one thing, if we use too many chemicals, any chemicals would be nice not to have to do, but that's not where we're at. Our birds die, our land animals die. And like with Dr. Jacalyn, what you're dealing with, you have all these beautiful iguanas running around on the golf course thinking, somebody planted grass for us, how cool. But sadly, there are stories of people who hate them and they poison them. And then you've got these giant animals dead, and the coyotes like that we have. And I've had people poison the rabbits. Somebody let one loose and they had 600 more babies, and it wasn't necessarily a wild one. I grew up in a place where we had wild rabbits and the coyotes would eat them. But if you're poisoning the food, the rabbits, because you don't want them there, and they're eating all your vegetables, your plants, or whatever, then you've now just killed at least 3 of the coyotes. And or their babies came out with legs coming out of their head and all kinds of deformities because of the chemicals. Please, 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 if you take nothing from this episode, it's that everything has a cause and a reaction. And this is just my 2 cents of saying, please, please think about before you throw liquid, dangerous liquid things down the drain, down the gutter, wherever. Please, please check to see if you can get it properly disposed of with your city and the governments. They're really trying hard because they are the ones having to deal with the landfills. And they're the ones who are dealing with their cities rotting because people were throwing trash everywhere years and years ago. We're doing better, but an education is the start of us all understanding why we need to do this. Not maybe tomorrow, no. When this pen runs out of ink, I wish there was a place for us to recycle it. And right now there isn't. I haven't seen one. And this pen can now stay around for the next 300 years with no ink. And just think, if an animal finds this, they either choke on it or chew on it, or it kills them.
Excellent episode. Thank you so much. Again, just a plethora of information, tips and tricks, not trips, ticks. Now it's a tick.
No, we have I'm taking you through the tulips and going, love the tulips. Just don't love the tulips. If anybody's all seen those movies.
Yes.
Because we can make a difference. Don't throw your cigarette butt on the ground and say it's somebody else's problem. You're the one who chose to smoke, then you should choose to have a place to put your butts, to put them in a proper trash, because they don't biodegrade. They don't.
No, they don't.
So.
And we have to sign off for today. And
thank you.
Your website is up here, bridgingworlds.us. So please do reach out to AMINAH there or on her LinkedIn or her Facebook page. Last final words as we close out this year, AMINAH, what would you like to say?
I believe in all of us. I wouldn't say these things if I was preaching. What I'm trying to do is encourage you to be your best self. I want to be my best self every day, and having this show and sharing all these wonderful things that I've spent a lifetime studying, then there's so much I can learn from all of you. Please remember, say hi to somebody that you don't know. It might be the best thing they ever had happen to them all day. Whatever it is, pick up a piece of trash, wash your hand later. Just don't touch your face. It's really that simple to be kind and us all get through this world together, happy and thriving.
All right. Thank you so much. We are going to close out now. This has been a super special episode. I really appreciate you, and thank you for continuing this journey with us at USA Global TV and Radio. And to everyone else out there, we wish you a very happy holiday, happy new year. And again, just find joy in the small things, giving gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for, the air in your lungs, whatever the case may be, and be kind to other people. And we appreciate you following us. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we appreciate you just being part of this community of education, hope, and inspiration. So for now, goodbye, and we'll see you in 2024.
Bye.
Bye.